today's virtual conference. My name is Gaston D'Souza, and I am your host for today. Today, growing customer expectations as well as dynamic and changing IT landscape are driving technology modernization. With organizations shifting businesses from traditional servers to cloud-based servers, infrastructure modernization is considered to be the transformational change. IT and business leaders are focusing on modernizing infrastructure to innovate and gain competitive advantage along with accelerating cloud data and information. As such, modernized infrastructure is a critical part to accelerate digital transformation, support next generation applications, and create engaging customer experiences. With the Google Cloud and Quadra Systems.net India Private Limited is glad to present the virtual conference on the pertinent topic, Infrastructure Modernization, the new essential for successful digital transformation. And now, ladies and gentlemen, before we begin, I request everyone to please take a moment and go through the guidelines that have been displayed on your screen. We encourage you to ask more questions in this session, and we request you also to please type your queries in the Ask Questions section because these will be taken up in the Q&A session. Ladies and gentlemen, just a couple of tips. We want to know you more, and hence please mention your name and the company name when you post your question. You can also mention the person you're directing the question to. As you can see on the screen, there is an Ask Question section on the bottom of the screen that will help you converse better with the speakers. And now, let's take a quick look at the flow of today's session. We invite you to please refer to the agenda displayed on your screen right now. A promising agenda with an eminent lineup of speakers. I would like to take this opportunity to welcome and thank everyone for being a part of this virtual session today. Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's kickstart with the opening speaker of the day. It gives me immense pleasure to invite Mr. Bright Augustus, Lead Digital Transformation, Quadra Systems.net India Private Limited, to share his insights with us. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Augustus. The screen is all yours.
Thank you, Mr. D'Souza. Welcome every one of you to this session. And it's my pleasure to be a part of this virtual conference where we have Saurabh Dubey from Google with us. And we have many industry leaders, CIOs of big enterprises who are going to be part of the panel where we will discuss many questions relating to infrastructure modernization. But now, first of all, I am going to share my screen with you people. Give me a moment. Hope you're able to see my screen. I'm going to open my presentation and just let me know if you're able to see my presentation. Somebody please acknowledge.
We can see, sir. It's quite visible. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, amplifying your Google Cloud investments with Quadra is my title. But then, first of all, let me move into the subject and introduce you to what we're going to do. Say, 10, 12 years back, people were hugely investing on optimizing their IT infrastructure. In fact, I had attended a conference abroad teaching me how I can take this particular infrastructure optimization, core infrastructure optimization, business productivity infrastructure optimization, and application platform infrastructure optimization. The reason was people were investing a lot in their respective data centers. They had to spend a lot of money buying hardware, software, networking, brand bandwidth, and employing people, and also spending a lot on the peripheral activities like continuously providing electricity, AC, and all of those. So optimization was essential in those days because they could not just keep spending a lot of money adding more and more servers or applications or virtual machines, whatever, and also adding a lot of infrastructure to store their data, keep it secure, and all of those. Thanks to the advent of the cloud, we are not spending anymore as capital investment on buying infrastructure, because the big people of the world, they have already invested enough money in building data centers across the globe, and they are providing us the cloud as a service so that we will be able to tap those services as operational expenses only, not as capital expenses. And thanks to Google, who were using the cloud for eons to connect consumers through their Gmail. But Google has also launched into the enterprise cloud. That is, they are today providing you all infrastructure that you require in order that you can run your show successfully. Whether it is going to be virtual machines, servers, or whether it's going to be applications that you want to run on those servers, how they will facilitate running your applications there. Also, capturing all the data that your applications need and create in terabytes and higher up. What happens is you need a lot of infrastructure to probably store all the data and then keep it secure and then retrieve it in order that you'll be able to pull out valuable information from that data so that you can go ahead and make informative decisions. So storage, and then every other thing that you want in order that you can run your IT successfully, so that you will always be able to make your IT a business enabler than just another expense expense point. No, today all IT can become business enablers. Second thing I want to tell you is what has happened in the digital transformation side is something very funny. A lot of people have assumed that when it is digital transformation, it is moving from one point, an older point, to another point, a new one, which is totally wrong. Digital transformation is a journey. You start from somewhere, yes, but then you keep moving. You keep moving. And so what happens is your digital transformation journey continues. And there are a lot of unknowns for every enterprise. Even if the CIO, the CTO, or the the chief data officer, CDO, chief security officer, whatever, even if they have spent a lot of years in providing their IT to their business, cloud is something new. I'll tell you, cloud has been here for more than a decade, but it's still new for a lot of people. The reason is There are a lot of changes that are happening. There are a lot of things that are evolving when it comes to the cloud. So, technology that is being provided from the cloud is improving every day. The cloud service providers like Google, they keep adding a lot of features that will be required by the enterprises. But sadly, the enterprises do not know what they really need. There is a lot on one side. Here on the other side, on the business side, yes, there is a lot of challenges, a lot of the questions that need to be answered. There are a lot of business needs that people are facing. Now, here is a challenge. People on the business side are unable to find out what they really need from the ocean of features that are on the other side. Technology being on one side, customers' business being on the other side, they are unable to cope up with the pace with which technology is changing. And that is where you need somebody who can handhold you, who can take you through the journey, stay with you all the time. And that's where we come. Quadra. Quadra Systems has been in this business for more than 20 years. We are into the 21st year now. So we have learned a lot. We have more than 3,000 plus customers in our database to whom we have provided our services. Infrastructure services, whether it was at that time for the on-premises data centers, or now in the modern times for businesses that are seeking for solutions on the cloud. So we are experienced people. We can bring that experience to you so that you can trust us to be the bridge between technology and your business, so that we can come and help you identify what are the things that you need, really need, so that you can optimize your infrastructure on the cloud with people who already have taken that journey, who already are taking many people in that journey. So we want to become your trusted partners. Always you come first. It is not the service provider or the OEM or our principals. We are not pushing a particular product just because it is bringing us bigger margins or it is a famous, well-known product. No, no. We sit with you to understand what you really need and then try to match your need with what is available on the other side. We have posted 200 plus case studies and available from our OEM's pages and also from our own website, which is quadrasystems.net. We have been recognized globally and at the national level many times. 17 years consecutively, we have been recognized on the global stage for our solutions that we have provided to our customers. The knowledge and the skills that we possess are unmatched, 750 plus certifications, and the commitment that we show to every engagement is unmatched again. Trust us, and we will be able to bring our experience to you. Digital transformation as a service is available to you as a package, starting from understanding where you are to taking you to where you want to be and staying with you all the time. We can deliver many such capabilities that are available from the cloud.
Sir, you are on mute. Mr. Augustus, you are on mute.
Okay, somebody had muted me. Are you able to hear me now? Saurabh,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
what was the last thing you heard from me? Okay, we have experience enough so that we will be able to share our experience with you people all the time and give you the best from our solutions. So we want you to come to us. Please come, connect with us, and we will be able to do things for you from the Google Cloud. We are Google Cloud Advantage partner, and you will be able to derive benefits from us because we have enough experience on the Google Cloud platform. We can make your business smarter, transform, and yet stay adaptable. We can better connect people, protect your business, and grow, help you grow with confidence. We are GCP partners. The business benefits that you will see, we'll be able to help you amplify the cloud investments that you're going to make. So, right from in-depth product knowledge to long-term relationship is what we want from you. Stop
Mr.
here.
Augustus, sorry for breaking you in, sir. Is it possible for you to go on presentation mode?
No, I've stopped my presentation.
Okay, all right.
Do not worry. That's okay. I am now into this, and I'm going to stop now because there are a lot of other things that need to happen. All I want you to know is we are here. We are experienced people. Give us an opportunity, and we will handhold you through this digital transformation journey where you will be able to manage your infrastructure on the cloud in a very, very wonderful way. Your infrastructure modernization begins with Quadra and the Google Cloud, and it will continue with us if you trust us. Thank you for listening to me with patience enough, and I'm handing over this to Gaston again. Please
Thank
take.
you very much. Thank you very much, Mr. Augustus. What an informative session this was. I've got to say this. And I'm very sure all the participating audience has some key takeaways from a session today. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we move on to the next speaker of the day. We invite Mr. Saurabh Dubey, partner, cloud architect, Google Cloud, to share his insights with us. A warm welcome to you, Mr. Dubey.
Hey, hi, Gaston. Hi, everybody. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for spending the morning time with us. I'm pretty sure that this will be an insightful session by Mr. Bright, and I'll also try to do justice with the slot given to me to share my insights about infrastructure modernization. So let me just quickly share my screen. Just give me a moment. I hope my screen is visible to you folks.
It is visible, sir.
Great. So welcome once again, folks. So today I'll be talking about infrastructure modernization with Google Cloud. Whereas
So you want to go on presentation mode?
This is the presentation mode.
All right, sir. All right.
Okay, are you able to see the full screen?
I am able to see a part of it.
Strange.
We can see the screen though. I'm not sure it's on presentation mode.
Okay. Saurabh, the participants need to choose the full screen mode. That's all. Please go ahead.
All right, sir.
Please go ahead. Please go ahead, Saurabh.
Okay, folks. Thanks, Mr. Bright. So, folks, today we'll be talking about infrastructure modernization with Google Cloud, where, we always encourage our customers and partners to think infrastructure modernization as one of the key solution plays by which they can certainly reap out the best value of their investment into Google Cloud or kickstart their overall cloud journey. Now, going ahead, what we have seen is most of the CIOs, we know that there's a lot to be gained from being into the cloud, whether it's reliability, agility, cost savings, security, or anything else. So here are some numbers around their reasons for pursuing infrastructure modernization. Agility, time to market, quality of service, cost efficiency, and security are the top ones. And these are the key business drivers for them to consider cloud as a next destination for their upcoming application or even for their existing applications. Now, many of the organizations are already on the path to modernizing applications. And we have also spoken to many of the CIOs that they acknowledge that migrating to the cloud, adopting new application architectures like containers or building a new cloud native services by helping them jumpstart growth or accelerating the time to market. Now, these are few numbers where we have seen that almost 59% of enterprises are expecting COVID will increase their overall cloud usage because of the remote working. Just 6% of them are satisfied with their company's performance. So there are many numbers out there where we are seeing that organizations are heading towards a strategic partnership with the cloud service providers. Now, there are four dimensions of value creation for the enterprises by modernizing their infrastructure. And this informs that how exactly they're going to generate the business value for the cloud or overall transformation, digital transformations, what Mr. Bright had just alluded to. And the first of the dimension is cost reduction. Now, this is one we see more often with the customers because hard dollar benefits to be extracted from the budgets and specific cost reductions must meet their investment bars. We have all heard of like, okay, how executives who only want to see like, okay, there's nothing but nothing else. And I think that this is why that people get intimidated by the business cases and that something is being taken away by their investment into uh, on-prem data centers. So here, with our experience, what we have seen, the customers have also indicated that customers are making decisions differently and for different reasons, apart from cost. And it's a blend of these four dimensions which are exactly driving their overall IT investment strategy, that cost optimizations or revenue growth. We also live in the world where we want to grow, and companies are no different. So getting more market share in their existing markets and expanding to new products, geographies, and new market is definitely one of the key drivers to think for an enterprise to think from a different perspective to for their IT investments and how to reap out more value out of that. And let's talk about like what organizations are even thinking about migrating to cloud or modernizing their infrastructure. Now, what do CEOs have their eyes on? Like, okay, we can certainly see from this study by McKinsey that they are thinking about accelerating revenue, improving time to market, reducing overall cost. And also, all of these things will lead to increased customer satisfaction. And we at Google Cloud are completely aware of all these areas and offer our services and offerings to address them with our partners like Quadra Systems. Now, yet, despite of all these appetite to migrate and modernize, 75% of the workloads are still not yet into the public cloud, and which is definitely not great. And what are the reasons for that and how we can address this thing? That's all about infrastructure modernization. And because of the challenges, and now I'm not going to read out this verbatim, but a long story short, migrations can be really complex and challenges are plentiful. So ranging from talent gaps, security, management, cultural shock, cost, and whatnot. That's a lot. Now, in that scenario, definitely you would like to have someone who can hold your hand, drive through this entire cloud journey or your modernization journey, which can really assure that you get successful by reaping out the best benefits offered by overall public cloud. Now that we agreed on the complexities and we are dealing with infrastructure modernization, let me share with you like how Google Cloud engages and drive values quickly. The Google Cloud sees primarily two patterns with the customers who wanted to see their physical data center transformation or infrastructure modernization, either in terms of reduction of capacity within a data center, what we mentioned to as a partial replacement, or reduction of physical number of data centers, which we call it as a full replacement. The partial replacements offer enhanced capabilities to choose between OPEX and CAPEX spending and are commonly used to provide DR, adopting new cloud capabilities, enhanced business continuity services. This can also be used to free an on-premise hardware for deployment, like for example, our services called Anthos, or a test lab for the full data center replacement strategy. And this choice becomes a balance between the familiar rigid controls in data centers and the possibilities what they can get the cloud brings by removing the technical debt what they're having. Now, our migration approach encompasses the familiar R strategy, right, as we all know. And we believe that this view can be further simplified by considering an end state of the proposed services and application. As a result, we simplify all these traditional R's like rehost, replatform, refactor, also known as lift and shift, move and improve, and transform strategy. Now, as well to choose between all these R's, there is a trade-off between lowering the technical depth and increasing the cloud maturity. Now, lowering your technical debt is valuable to an organization as it improves TCO and time to market. But this will also lead to reduction in platform risk and maintenance effort, which is required for the responsibility of the environment owners to become like, okay, to be shared with the cloud vendors. And they should be able to take care of most of the mundane tasks and offer more and more number of managed services by their platform. Now, the left side of this page shows an R approach to achieving this optimization through a three-layered cake. Move and improve infrastructure from your DC, leveraging data analytics and application modernization to improve operations that will reap out business benefits, and finally innovations that drives business transformations through our new products, services, and markets like AI/ML. Now just take a look at this tram diagram, I just generally call it. At Google Cloud, we have defined paths forward for your IT assets, for your workloads, for your operating models as highlighting in this thing. Now we call it as like Google Cloud Adoption Framework. Now under infrastructure modernization, we have identified key solution plays which really resonates well with many of our customers, and they have seen significant progress and success with that. Now, those solution plays, you can call them out as VM migrations, SAP on GCP, VMware on Google Cloud, backup VR, Microsoft workloads on GCP, high performance computing, etc., and more. Now, looking at the data center modernization or infra modernization journey through the lens of IT assets, this is like, okay, what's being represented, the breadth of Google capabilities, starting from a typical categorization, and each branch and leaf of this tree represent a potential technology or a product that can lead to, which will help you adopt Google Cloud as well as explore the world of possibilities with us. Now, our migration factory approach generally like, okay, most of the customer will start the journey with application migration or VM migration, they call it. So at the core of this migration program, executing through the waves of assess, plan, migrate, and optimize. These are the four phases generally we call out. And these steps, while appearing linear, are iterative and will be executed in parallel through agile sprints across different workloads, streams, and surrounding the migration factory as the cloud COE offered by our partners, and that can really be overseen by the business strategy people, and migration of those program management being done by the partner team as well as the customer teams to make sure that the delivery of those migration of those applications in the cloud should be seamless. And this is even a closer view of the customers who have invested into their DC and want to adopt cloud and modernizing their infrastructure via lift and shift approach. So either they can migrate their application to cloud and enjoy partial benefits, or think of a bigger picture and explore the world of possibilities to design the complete journey with infra modernization. And you can see the various white arrows into this. They can see if they are just exploring or wanted to come out of their existing investment into infrastructure at their on-prem side, for example, their storage investment or the database investment, where we are offering them a complete managed offering through our portfolio and helping them achieve the benefits of cloud. This is significantly different than any other cloud provider in the market right now. Okay, now how do we do that? So we offer tools like StataZone, which can optimize your environment by right-sizing the machines, identifying the end-of-life old servers, and subsequently mapping to it appropriate GCP solution. The potential GCP savings, what we have seen it between like okay, 30 to 60%, depending on the optimization potentials as well as the client-specific dynamics. But this is like okay, the way forward for you to like okay, go ahead and invite the partners and Google Cloud to help you run those assessments and give you that picture. Now, when we are talking about VMs run best in GCP, a few things that really seem to stand out. First and foremost are security focus and faster IOPS, custom machine types. We are the only cloud provider in the market right now who are able to offer our customer to configure their VM sizes on their own. So we offer custom VM sizes with which you should be able to save significant amount of cost month on month to which is required for your applications, because the configuration, the requirement of your applications, of your own applications, you are the best person to take a call like, okay, what is the best configurations? We are not the one who are like, okay, compelling the VM sizes like t-shirt size virtual machines offered to you. For example, like, okay, small, medium, large, and these are the machines you should take it. Whether your application need it or not, you need to either under provision or over provision those machines and incur extra cost. So that you need not to do that. And there's a lot of technological advantages of running virtual machines in compute engine versus on-premise. Another interesting component of migration is the network. When we migrate over, when it comes to migration, the first rule is like do no harm, and the network is a huge component of that. And it's a big deal both for the virtual machines running in the cloud and also getting them there. Now we have got some great new additions to help the networking and migration strategy, which include everything you can see on this particular slide. Because what we offer is like, okay, we migrate with minimal risk. We maintain the IP investment, what you have done. We migrate data quickly and securely because by default, data is always encrypted at rest and in motion when you are dealing with Google Cloud. A new solution, I think I have already touched upon, but I have seen like many customers have a significant invested into their virtual machine in the setup. Now, we are offering a new solution called GCVE, which is Google Cloud VMware Engine, which lets you run your VMware on Google Cloud directly. It's pure lift and shift of VMware, and it gives customers a lot of benefits when they are attached to VMware or if they have time or refactoring constraints. So using it lets you seamlessly migrate to Google Cloud without having to re-architect or refactor your existing application. You can scale up and down your VMware workload, and also it allows your customer to maintain operational continuity and continue to benefit from existing VMware investment and tools. You can still maintain the skills what your teams are having and still be able to leverage the benefits what Google Cloud is able to offer. As I call out, cost optimization is one of the primary levers and business drivers why customers would like to pursue towards infrastructure modernization journey. Here you can see like, okay, these are various factors. So different things what we are able to offer you, like right size recommendation engine, sustained use discount, committed use discounts. Now, what all these terms are, I might not go to into like, okay, different level of explanation, but definitely I would like to touch base upon few of the uh, key features which are really unique, which will make a Google Cloud different. Something like sustained use discount. Now, sustained use discount is a kind of a discount which you will automatically get into your bill. The more you use the VM, the more the discount you will get. You need not to enable any button, you need not to talk to anyone, you need not to do anything. The more you use your VMs and you can enable it, most probably like, okay, this is very, very suitable for the workloads, like, okay, where you see an unexpected hike and or up and down of the consumption. Then what you can do is like, okay, by default and on-demand virtual machines, that's automatically get the sustained use discounts, right? The right size recommendation engine. So most of the services offered by Google Cloud is a AI/ML inbuilt, and VM right sizing recommendations. So these recommendations are automatically coming onto your way when they are telling like, okay, this particular VM is running for a say 15 days with say 20% utilization. Now it is up to you, like, okay, whether you would like to right size that particular VM to save some cost on that, or there is certain reason why we have oversized that particular VM. All these insights you will be getting it. A classic example is like, okay, this cost model with which we would like to explain you how exactly the cost model works in GCP. As you can see on the left-hand side, a typical on-premise data center investment where you have to do a CapEx. Now, considering the right size, you will see like, okay, an OpEx model where you will see you need not to invest complete cost for 3 years upfront. What you're doing is like you're investing for a year, then your year two cost will start maybe by after like, okay, you are halfway done through your year one cost. And similarly, you can plan it for year three cost. So you see there is a significant investment, and specifically with applications like SAP or any ERP applications what you're planning to run on GCP infrastructure, those are the areas where you will see significant soft cost savings when you are planning it this way in the cloud. Now we need to have also offering a unique point of view to our customers, and this is where we are telling that, showcasing a story that this is a big vision. You can start small and then scale, and we want to you to think about like, okay, not only about like infrastructure modernization, but we also want you to talk about multi-cloud, hybrid cloud kind of an approach. We want to keep you a long-term goal also in the mind. We'll show you an art of possible, so that we'll start with VM migrations and let's take one step at a time. How can you start with this customer journey? As a first step, I encourage you to engage our partner Quadra and to run a free of cost IT assessment using our tools like StatusZone, and get an insight on your existing infrastructure investments and how you can gain more value by accelerating your cloud journey. And then with a proven migration framework with assets, plan, migrate, and optimize, we can guide and support with our partners' experience and expertise to assure your success towards the cloud adoption. Now, these are all various areas and various verticals where customers have seen success, both in terms of increasing their operational efficiencies as well as in cost optimization. With this, I would like to call it a wrap. I hope, like, okay, this is a useful session for you, and you get to understand the infrastructure modernization approach and differentiator offered by Google Cloud.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Dubey. I've got to mention it was truly a very informative session. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let's move on to the most awaited knowledge sharing and interactive session, the panel discussion. This discussion is around the topic infrastructure modernization, the new essential for successful digital transformation. We have some very interesting names here. This session will be moderated by Ms. Beros Kamdeen, partner Deloitte. Thank you very much, Ms. Kamdeen, for joining us. And now, ladies and gentlemen, let me also introduce you to all the esteemed speakers joining us in the panel today. Our first panelist for the day, we have the august presence of Mr. Arun Raja Karthik, Head IT Infrastructure, Cloud COE and Security, DTDC Express Limited. Thank you very much, Mr. Karthik, for gracing this session. And then, ladies and gentlemen, we are also honored to have with us Mr. Balaji TK, Chief Information Officer, Orange Retail Finance India Private Limited. Thank you very much, Mr. Balaji, for joining us today. It is a delight to have with us Mr. Prince Joseph, Chief Information Officer, SFO Technologies Limited. Thank you, Mr. Joseph, for joining us at the panel. We are also delighted to have Mr. Ashwin Khurana, Chief Information Officer, Ujjivan Small Finance Bank, joining us today. Thank you, Mr. Khurana, for your kind presence. Our next guest has added incredible value to this session by his attendance. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome an amazing expert in this industry, Dr. Suresh Shant. Thank you, Dr. Shant, for your esteemed participation. I welcome you all once again, and I request you all to please come on video. And now, let's begin the panel discussion. Over to you, Ms. Kamdeen.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Gustin. And thank you, Dun & Bradstreet, for giving us this opportunity. And the earlier two sessions were very interesting. The way you mentioned, Saurabh really took us through the entire journey of migration. Thank you, Saurabh, and thank you, Bright, for letting us know how we can work along with Bright and Google to have this implementation done. We thank you for the panelists for joining us. We have an esteemed panel from various sectors. So if you look at it, we have logistics, we have manufacturing, we have finance, and of course, we have Dr. Suresh, who's an industry expert. So over to all of you, and thank you for coming here and welcome. And thanks to the participants for listening on us. So we start a discussion today. And before we start, I think I want to just understand. So whenever we speak of industrialized modernization, infrastructure modernization, what comes to mind for each of you? So Arun Raja, if you can start, what comes to mind when you think of infrastructure modernization?
So for me, it is like leave away from the traditional data center and moving into cloud. That comes to my mind first whenever we think about the infrastructure modernization.
Sure, thank you. Balaji?
Thank you. Thank you for the option. Thank you, Don Bursted. Thank you, Google Cloud. Thank you, Quadra. Thank you, Karen. Thank you, human panelist. What comes to me if I think about infrastructure modernization is like how we keep changing our new mobiles. For what is the reason? Because to use our new applications to make ourselves more productive, make ourselves more faster, and to keep pace with the world. I think that's a basic reason for our business application also to go ahead with the modernization of the infrastructures. So that's my initial comment.
Yeah. So from old to new, from more agility.
True, yeah.
Ashwin, your thoughts on it?
I would say time to market and continuous availability. I mean, these are two key things that I look for when I'm looking at modernizing the infrastructure from where I operate.
In the finance sector. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Dr. Suresh?
Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, thanks for this opportunity with you all today. It's more to do with eliminating issues with the legacy infrastructure, increased performance management, monitoring and availability, 99.99, and a capacity planning.
Okay, thank you. Prince, your view on it?
For me, it comes down to two things. One is, we keep hearing ease of doing business. So this is one way to enable that. Second one is the experience factor. So this has to make anybody who's a knowledge worker feel like they are using the latest platforms to help them perform better.
Yeah. And I agree with you. I think somewhere we keep speaking of the applications and digitalization, but we don't realize that the infrastructure for that also needs to modernize. So it can't be just a digital application. So you need to keep pace with the change which is happening in your applications and the infrastructure both. So now when we start the panel discussions, and we've heard as to what is infrastructure modernization. So Balaji, what is your view? Why is it so critical to have an infrastructure modernization?
Thank you for the opportunity. Just a little bit brief about my organization. I do represent Orange Retail Finance. We started in southern part of India, near Madurai. So in this past 5 years, we could able to scale to 100 plus branches and having nearly 2 lakh customer base, and we could able to do a disbursement of 1,000 crore. And then we do a two-wheeler loan, we do a cash loan, and then I used to two-wheeler loan against person. So these are some of the products which we added up in the recent times. So I was asked why we need a kind of a modernization. So now what happened? Now there are traditional banks out there, banks that started modernizing, and there are bigger NBFCs out there, and then fintech players out there. So now I'm kind of a sandwich where I'm a kind of a NBFC where my cost of borrowing is not that great with anybody, and then my selling is also not that competitive. So where I can able to stand myself, unique among others, and I need to keep growing it. If anybody comes to me for a loan requirement, I can able to give them the decision within a few seconds or a few minutes. So that's my capability. To build that application, to support it, certainly I need a kind of a application layer and then the infrastructure layer where I can able to agilely turn around everything as right equal time to market. For all this, my application need to be hosted in cloud. My entire employee workforce will be in the field for sales and collection. So I need to empower the app. So for that, I cannot keep going with any traditional methodology of hosting my application. So I need to host my application in the server, and it need to scale up based on my user base also. Okay. So these are some of the key factors for me to go ahead with the application modernization and go ahead with the cloud. And my entire backend team, like what we did is, since there is a startup ecosystem, we are into kind of a startup, I don't have enough money to buy any servers, put it in my own place and all. I can only keep scaling up as I go. So as a design itself, we thought let's not have any server room, let's go ahead with the cloud itself from the beginning. So from the day one when we started the engagement, we went with the cloud. So for me, what happened, the decision of further whenever anything comes for, if I want to buy a new application, if I want to build a new application, whether I need to buy a server or not, the decision is taken off. Because for me, since I don't factor the server room at all, by default, I need to go with the cloud only. So what I do is during the decision itself, we keep eliminating certain things so that I don't want to spend time on whether to buy or to host. By default, it is all hosted, whichever application we are going it, whichever we are buying it or whichever we are building it. By default, it is only hosted. When it's hosted, once again, it has its own challenges, complexity that will come later part.
Yeah.
But first part is decision is very easy for me. Agility, go to market, simplicity, and if any downtime is there, I can churn on it immediately and figure it out. So kind of a fail fast technology we keep using. These are the few takeaways from me in my present experience here. Thank you.
Thank you, Balaji. And even cost, I think you mentioned about cost also being one of the factors. Prince, what is your thought? Is it critical for having infrastructure modernization?
Absolutely. See, to add to what Balaji said, coming in from the manufacturing sector, what have been our experience is that the need was, we were quite slow to adopt many of these technologies. We were quite slow to move to the cloud. We were quite slow to bring in a lot of innovation. It was always in the pipeline. But then suddenly the pipeline started to flush things out, and we needed to move faster. So the first element that I thought the cloud gave us as a business benefit was resilience. Previously, we used to manage that by ourselves across our data centers, investing in our own boxes, our own tools, our own people. Whereas it became far more easier to get that value by moving into a cloud space, which enabled that faster. Second one was with having a workforce that was suddenly dispersed out of the office. You needed to ensure that how do you still get the same level of performance as on LAN, responsiveness to the applications, because the moment anything is slow to respond, you have everything which is affected and a whole lot of noise coming out of that. And the cloud seemed to offer solutions to that particular aspect. And the third part was, again, probably something which was a benefit which I see is the security aspect, but we'll probably speak about that more. To me, I found that while we worried a lot about every aspect of security, ensuring every element is right in our security posture, once we moved to the cloud, there was a lot of ownership and a lot of best practices we could leverage by just turning this on, because they seem to be already pre-certified in things which we are trying to get also certified. That I thought was a benefit, and that was something which gave confidence to our customers as well. So these are a few of the things where I thought it proves to be quite important in mission building.
Thanks.
Or helps our mission. Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you, Prince. So it's very clear that there is advantages and there's a need for infrastructure modernization. Ashwin, if you can comment now as to why now do we need to do the infrastructure modernization? Why is the time right now?
I mean, if I look at the infrastructure in today's era, I mean, it's the backbone, right? That's if your backbone is weak, then everything that is getting supported by that backbone becomes even more weaker. So that's where it's very critical to keep in mind that the modernization happens right time. If I look at banking and I go back just 10 years, 10 years ago, you would do banking during the day. You had internet banking available with you to access your account, see your balances, maybe not do transfers after 5 o'clock because that was the time any FT RTGS would stop. We had no UPI, we had no transactions which would instantaneously go and credit the other person's account when you want to transfer. And you come to today, everything is happening in a second, right? Everything is like in a jiffy. It works 24/7. With the infrastructure that we had in 2008, 2010, and if we try to continue that today, it will not be able to support that kind of load that is coming our way. So it is a critical aspect, and I think cloud gets a different angle into it of making it available when you need it, right? As bankers, we haven't really tried the cloud from that perspective, but yeah, we are eager to. We have challenges of being on proprietary environments, which yet are not available in the cloud. So to give you an example, the core banking we use runs on SunSpark platform. I want to go to the cloud, there's not one available. So we are taking our own baby steps. I think COVID made the journey move ahead faster. at least the needs of the organization from a perspective of remote working have been handled through the cloud, But coming to transactional banking, I think banks. I was reading an article last week where banks have asked RBI to give some guidelines which are very clear with regards to how do we do that on the cloud. So I think people are taking those steps, and we'll see things happening there.
Sure. Thank you, Ashwin. Arun Raja, what do you think? Is it the right time now to be looking at infrastructure modernization?
See, when we speak about infrastructure modernization, there is no such right time. Okay, it is like how an organization started and how we are transforming. Like what Balaji said, they started straight on cloud and they are moving on based on whatever their transaction decisions, right? Let's speak about our industry. I'm from DTDC. We are back from logistic, and DTDC is a pioneer in Indian logistic. They are there for last 30 years. Then imagine we carry our own legacy from the process, from the business, and the technology as well. Okay, when we want to move and compete in this market, so today logistic is getting transformed into logitech mostly. Okay, and demand in the market, technology is equally important for that. Just imagine 10 years back, we could have bought a computer, a server, something, and our business would require that kind of infrastructure back then. Does it the same today? Does the same system supports to the business today? If you ask, an individual itself are upgrading from a desktops to laptops largely. And when our business is expanding, its length and breadth towards industry, equally the technology expansion is also very important, and thus gives the key for any kind of application modernization. And when any application modernization comes into the is the backbone, and that has to upgrade it on timely basis. So that's where the infrastructure modernization requirement comes in with its own challenges and benefits.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. So if we have heard everyone speak earlier, they said that there is a requirement, there's a need, it is critical, and the time is right now, and more so it's been accelerated because of the COVID pandemic. Dr. Suresh, what do you see challenges in implementing this when you look at infrastructure modernization?
It's a great question again. It's like without challenges, the opportunity never foreseen. So it starts with the challenges. But let us have a basic question: why similar things are happening? Why the transformation of infrastructure is must? So far, as all the corporates were focusing more on the corporate digital, that's what I keep on emphasizing. We were keeping the stakeholders and the internal users happy so far. But the kind of expectation set and transformed is moved from corporate digital towards customer digital, where every individual is treated as corporate and every individual has to have enough in terms of the technology surface going closer to them. So instead of a service, now getting engaged with the customer matters a lot. That's what the technology points out. So infrastructure comes under like how to create an enabling a smart enterprise. That's where it starts more towards all organizations focusing towards technology, especially for technology people. It's more to do with access and plan, design and test, deploy and manage, return and dispose. It comes very simple. But if you try to create in terms of infrastructure, it's more to do with the kind of essential infrastructure, which is more in terms of using the virtualization, even getting into the operating systems and application migration timely with the kind of channels, getting that omni from, especially when you operate from rural India, how much mobility and the cloud integration matters a lot in terms of security, which gives us more visibility in social media, using web presence, trying to deploy as much as on the management tools, which gives more green IT efficiency. This all matters a lot, forming part of a smart enterprise. So infrastructure is part of the enterprise and it tries to build a part of it. So in our earlier case, like we try to optimize as much as try to get that the cloud model, which is more relevant, trying to take it up. But let us see that how the partitions play part of it. So one is what specific when it comes to cloud, we try to bring out as much as in terms of trying to use something of on-premise data center, which when you operate more in rural India, those people try to utilize for the intranet and internet applications to use part of the kind of optimized data center which is on premise. The second one is what to try to keep the connection in terms of dealers, brokers, agents. We try to use more in terms of enterprise cloud service. That's where it puts us with the competition, market, dynamism of rural India, again trying to deal through the mediators. The third one is what, as much as on the high density data center, that's where you can see artificial intelligence, the cloud components with the kind of expectation which enable the product heads to get continued, and trying to elaborate on that. If you see in through the kind of tougher situations, especially COVID, we come out with something called community cloud, which is nothing but the financial services can contribute together and they can meet the customer, where customer will decide what type of services available part of the financial services. So this is a transformation. Something is part of the method, something is part of the infrastructure, something is more specific to business, but it matters a lot when you try to address customer, where customer is trying to compute using the community cloud. So it's almost like kind of expectation set part of the period which is expected, but more to do with business, more to do with customer. That's where the transformation has created enable vision in terms of a smart enterprise can use technology to satisfy their business and customers. Back to you, madam.
Thank you. Thank you, Suresh. So you have actually put in across the whole background to say why the need and why it should be done now, and where, I mean, which are the sectors that you are looking at and aspects that you're looking at, including customers, individual customers per se. So if you were to ask Ashwin, what has been your challenges when you've implemented infrastructure modernization? So what are challenges that you faced when you're actually implementing an infrastructure modernization?
Yeah, I would say that if I look at it, think about all the technology that has got accumulated in the past. We have got skill sets that go with it, right? So modernization needs a different set of skill sets to come into play. That's one of the biggest challenges that we see into moving into what I call the modernized infrastructure on the cloud. I will still not say that is a problem if I'm doing it on-prem, but on the cloud, definitely the skill sets that are required are very different than what we operate in terms of on-prem implementation. The second thing is about the challenges about data, right? Whenever we get into something new, we are bullish about it. And we get into something new, but then there are times when you want to get out of it also. And there is a lot that needs to happen in that space, where who owns the data, how does the data come to you? It may not be really about infrastructure. It may be about application as a service, which is on the cloud. So in those kind of spaces, that clarity needs to come in here. I think as organizations, when we started to virtualize, we used to partner with vendors who were following a virtualization first policy. So if you didn't have an application that worked in a virtualized environment, we will look at somebody else. The good thing about the cloud is the partners on the cloud are now pushing us to be cloud first. So that's the change that I see in this implementation into the cloud. I was having a vendor meeting today morning, and I was asking, on-prem is an option? He said, no, on-prem is not an option. So yeah, it's these kind of pushes that is making us move to the cloud and take advantage of the technologies available. But I think skills is one thing that keep on worrying us all the time, about having the right skill on board to ensure that we do it right. And being a bank, keeping data secure, ensuring that there is no leakage in terms of any malfunction that would happen, and obviously it works continuously. So these are the things that I see as challenges.
Thank you. Arun, what do you see in your industry as a challenge for infrastructure modernization?
So I can pick out what I gone through as a challenge itself straightly. So I agree to Mr. Ashwin. Skill set is a key challenge, but skill set, I come from the legacy perspective. Any platform which we are currently running, or we were trying to modernize, it was there in system for last 10-15 years. And when the same platform has to be migrated or modernized, it might be easy for a partner who come and say, okay, let's do, you are having 10 servers here, I can put it into serverless architecture there, very good. But who knows how it is connected in my on-prem today, how it is integrated with other systems. There are a lot of tool sets the hyperscale partners comes to identify the interdependency of the application and the infrastructure. But not every tool gives that in detail understanding about what is the dependency. So migration or modernizing something, it is not so easy. It has its own dependence or a challenge in terms of skill, in terms of lack of documentation of existing platform. And another important aspect when we start this migration, what we gone through is the consumption or the resources required to manage both existing platform and new platform during the period of transition. I can say it is a challenge of coexistence of both existing platform and then the migrated and modernized platform. It is not easy to just say I have migrated this from X to Y, and today I can start using Y seamlessly so that I'm going to drop X. It will not happen in that fashion. There is a clear transition time, coexistence time to be there, and we need to have time cost involved in it to manage both. The data, there could be cases where data duplication would come when the coexistence is happening. So a lot of such kind of challenges we can foresee when we are trying to modernize, no matter whether it is in on-prem or it is in cloud. But with these challenges, what is that break-even point we're going to foresee, and then plan our entire migration backward, which is going to set the success story for this entire transformation, I can call it out. But with whatever the technical challenges we are discussing here, one of the key thing, either we can call it as challenge or it can be a driving factor, is a change management when it comes to any kind of these kind of modernization.
I completely agree with you. Actually, we've also seen a lot of change management, like skill sets required, mindset required to change, very important.
Yeah,
and
so
then the time taken for changing also takes a long time sometimes.
Exactly. So the driving factor should be there, whether it comes from top to bottom, how it is being seen in the industry as well as by the other leaders in the organization is also very important when it comes to change.
Yeah, I would agree. It's
Yes,
not
Ashwin.
as fast. It's not as fast as it appears to be on a PowerPoint presentation.
Yes.
Exactly.
It takes time and it takes resources also, because you really need to do duplicate work.
That's
Which
Correct.
is there. So now, Balaji, you've already been on cloud, all those things. So what are best practices when you look at infrastructure modernization? So in your case, you don't have modernization. Whenever you take an infrastructure, what is your best practice that you've adopted, which you would like to share?
If that's a modernization we need to keep doing. Even then, if you go for a cloud, it doesn't mean that we shouldn't take a modernization. Modernization need to keep happening it. Okay. So presently, like if you ask me what kind of a challenges we go through, it is, if anybody comes to my platform, I've given my platform to two different sets of users. One is my internal team, another is my external customers. All my two customers can download my app and I can able to service them. And my internal, there are 2,000 employees. But what happens is we keep using a lot of fintech players, a lot of banks, multiple APIs. At any given point of time, around 40 to 50 different APIs keeps running it. So while building the architecture layer, we should be extremely cautious, like what kind of access we can give to these API players, till what level they can able to access it. So all that we need to be extremely cautious while building the application itself. Okay, one is from infra standpoint, fine. One is from application standpoint, we should be extremely cautious. In infra standpoint, if you ask me, like, have we done the basics of who can able to access it, how it can VPN, all that, because complete it's in a public domain. And if it is in a public domain, there is a lot of inherent threat will be there. How we are protecting it? It's not that people can able to access it only through an infra breaking it. Even they can able to access through one kind of application layer also, like through an API layers, everything. Have we protected it enough? That people, what kind of access they do have? So my point is we need to consider both the things. One is for infra, we need to protect certain application, we need to protect, because through application only it's being accessed here. Correct. So we need to fence completely the infrastructure also. And then the main thing what I understand is it's not only one cloud provider will take it. We might add multiple other cloud providers. For example, if you ask me, I'm using 4 public cloud providers. So certain applications might work in one cloud provider. Tomorrow, if you want to migrate it or if you want to take with other provider and try to integrate it, how it's going to work? Today, I take one in one cloud provider. Some server I need to host it in some other provider. Both need to sync well. Data need to sync. How it's getting happening. All that we need to take care of it. Second, once our application modernization has been done, infrastructure modernization based on the users, number of users it keep increasing. Auto provisioning, deprovisioning keeps happening. It whether our bills are intact. So all that we need to take care of it. So this is also very critical because once you are not seeing through it, no, then suddenly a lot of provision keeps happening, deprovision keeps happening. We might lose track of it. So one is a resource. If you have internal resource, fine. But my suggestion is let's use the partner resource because my 4 years journey here with Orange, what I seen is try to capitalize a partner resource because partner is the one who's having complete knowledge on whatever this platform is, be it GCP or any other platform. Try to utilize their capability and to give them the hands what they need to operate, but you instruct them, you watch them what they're doing it. Okay, so that is one thing because it's very difficult to get the resource certainly from all the because whichever company we are not representing any tech companies, we are representing functional companies from manufacturing, from banking, everything. But they are the one who have the right expertise because people will be there, staying there for quite a long time. Utilize that capability, but you can have a control what you need to do it and take the expertise from them, try to bridge it, and then whatever they're doing, let them do it in front of you, okay, so that you will have complete control on the infrastructure also. They're not doing it alone. Because here what happened, most of the partners will have access, they'll be doing something which will not even be aware of it. So take the control, keep the control. You don't do anything. Let them do everything in front of you so that that's a kind of a maker checker mechanism is always there. Because being in a banking domain, it's always to have a kind of a maker checker mechanism. I think this kind of a best practices we need to have it from an infrastructure standpoint. Like then try to enable multiple logs, whatever logs it is. Okay, whether it is size, whether it can able to increase 5%, 5% or 10% or whatever it is. Okay, try to optimize the utilization and without user is suffering because end of the day user shouldn't complain it like it's a slow or some kind of a challenge non-available data. Same thing cost shouldn't it also like you try to optimize it like whenever data goes certain point add further storage, add further storage, add further storage. So try to do lots and lot of automated script into the cloud storages, the cloud servers, everything. So that's the best way to do it. So you need to have capability of a partner who does a lot of scripting into the server itself so that it's completely maintained, optimized, user is feeling happy with the usage. Same thing, our cost is also not overshooting. So this is the takeaways from my experience. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Balaji. Prince, yeah, you would like to add what are the best practices that you've seen?
Right. What I want to add to what Balaji and Arun mentioned is for me the starting point is we are actually now not just talking about modernization, but modernization into what? There is a need to look at a re-architected enterprise. So that piece of work is actually very critical to bringing a lot of people together because you got to give a vision of what we are trying to build, what we are trying to achieve, what we are trying to get towards. So that requires some investment in time, expertise, etc., so that you're able to re-architect exactly your business reference applications, your applications landscape, and then you're able to project towards what benefit we can get. Because at the end of the day, like I said earlier also, for me, one of the things that I want to tackle is my customer experience, my employee experience. How does that get elevated with this? One of the challenges that we have with legacy also would have been, at the moment, we might have a problem that we look at ourselves as one independent silo, but we are part of an ecosystem where partners are there, vendors are there, principals are there, customers are there. And if they're all on different platforms, we need to have a way to make sure that we are all still able to interface, interconnect, and integrate. And that actually drives a lot of decisions that we do. For us, if the customer is demanding certain standards, if the customer is moving certain platforms, we need to engage with them, we need to collaborate with them in an easier way. If we find that we are isolating ourselves from our customer or even our supplier, we will find it difficult to continue to do business. So the re-architected enterprise is something which is an important step to start with, is what I want to just add to this.
Sure, sure. Thank you, Prince. Dr. Suresh, what do you believe in this? Is it secure to have on-premise or on cloud? And what is the due diligence and compliance that needs to be looked at?
It's
when you're doing
basic behavior question where how similar engagements will get taken it in a long term. But let me start with an example like how similar migration happened and how people see beyond security things happening on that. It was a recent migration of a messaging system where 35,000 people mail IDs to be converted into the latest cloud. When we try to use it as part of the technology, and other side you are having a rural support in terms of people from rural connectivity, electricity, and resource availability is a great challenge for us to do that. So where we call the partner A, who is the topmost and he is the giant of messaging, he said, I'll convert all the IDs to one ID and the cost will be around 7.5 crores and all 35,000 people can connect from anywhere across the country. They can start using it out. So again, management were evaluating and trying to say, like, can we get better than this? Again, we went to the second level partner who can read and suggest and try to make it out. We made, okay, since somebody has given at 7.5, I will get it at 3.2 crores and you can get all the people trying to utilize it. And again, per day cost is per person will be 25 rupees, which is so simple. Why not you try for it? Again, we called a local guy who is from Bengaluru, who is a normal, the person who operates at the rural India. He studied and he came back to us and he said, out of your 35,000, hardly you have 1,500 people using mails and they are responding. Other people are only putting okay or proceed. So for this, you no need of a mailing system. You can try to use WhatsApp or Telegram, which is officially secured and that can protect your data. So almost 28,000 people got transferred to Telegram and WhatsApp, and the 1,500 who are from the regulated perspective, where they are able to collect and collaborate with the banking and they try to use the mailing system. And a person who can't use mail in terms of properly utilized, that person will be shifted forcibly into WhatsApp or Telegram. You won't find within this COVID time, we found almost 95% of the people are using only WhatsApp and Telegram, and very few people out of 35,000, only 1,200 people are using the mailing system, where we have created a highly productive mailing system which enables these 1,200 people to use it. So migration doesn't mean like, okay, you can get into the topmost vendor or something else. It's very precise culture of your organization. And let us be very clear, organization should also have the demand. What is our organization? What type of people we have? What type of infrastructure currently it's operating it out? Because still in India, at least my organization, more than 700% of the locations still have an electricity issue. And we have some locations which has electricity only for 3 hours. So we can't overact smart and try to build something else which part of the main desktop solution. Let us find out how mobility solutions collaborate and try to do it out. So why I'm narrating this example, where the guy who has suggested now is part of our advisory, IT advisory steering committee, and he is part of all the decisions, whatever we take part of it. My CFO is very much convinced with the startup guy who is able to provide solutions and try to fix what solutions exactly looking part of it. So it's not just a destiny, it's more of a journey, and people should also realize technology will get that feel and touch. It's more of like how people can feel that kind of customer wow doesn't come just like a technology. It's more to do with the journey, how we try to put it on that. And especially when it comes to current technology, people have realized, at least in the kind of interior parts of our country, can reach through mobile, and multilingual is playing different in terms of that security concerns, which people can address it out. And when you try to bring out as much as part of the financial services, even regulators today, they have gone through that kind of innovation. RBI has created a hub where they are trying to do more innovations in terms of how we can get engaged with the customers in the last mile and try to enable as much as not just as a technology. It's more to do with a kind of business where less to do with the electronics, more to do with the emotions. To try to capture as much as part of it and trying to fix it. That's what the future technology, that's where reality in terms of the rural engagement and creating that customer wow, which is purely from the kind of delight, which is nothing but getting the technology what they are looking for rather than the technology what we have, which is not going to matter a lot more from the customers. So the challenges from security front, create that stake, create the value system, create that what customer is looking for, that will pressure, less the kind of technology which we try to empower it. And business today, if you see the kind of business, is not just to do a transaction, create an engagement for a long term, which will build enough in terms of creating the kind of value system, which creates the trust, which for financial institutions matter a lot. At the end of the day, it's not just a digital, it's more to do with the kind of emotions facing towards the technology and the kind of solutions available part of the startups with the security which we can build part of the financial services, which will get engaged with customers and great as much as more towards the business. Back to you, madam.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh. So since you're talking of security and we have two finance companies here, so Ashwin, what is your take on this modernization? Is it secure? How do you see the compliance of it? What is it that you would look at from a due diligence perspective? Ashwin, Balaji,
I mean,
anyone?
as a bank, I would make sure that whatever I use and wherever I use, I'll secure it to the needs of what the regulators have placed on us and the trust that the customers have put in us. So I don't think it is anybody else's responsibility. It's the responsibility that we have towards the deployments that we carry out. So doing proper implementations with good due diligence and the requirements of what is required, depending on the kind of data that we are going to be using across our entire ecosystem, we will define how we keep it secure. And you know, while all the cloud companies do come and talk about, I mean, I heard Google product person talking about that data is secured while it's on rest and while it's in transit. That's a very good thing to have. But we just need to make sure that while it is encrypted on rest and transit, there's no other way to access data that is going to be kept in a cloud environment. So that's a key thing. So in a nutshell, I think security is something which everybody should be responsible for. It is not passed on as an activity to be done by the next in the value chain. And that's what my view is about keeping things secure.
I completely agree. I think it is very much the responsibility of the bank to see that the data and everything else is secure of the customers and the employees for that matter. Balaji, anything you would add on the security part of it?
Yeah, as rightly told, security is everybody's role here, but we need to be champion in it. And since most of us will not be security expert, take the right security expert, guys. Keep doing frequent audits from a different part. Keep doing infra audits. Keep doing application audits. Take the inputs. Keep doing it. So all this, like whatever RBI suggested, let's follow it. And kind of ethical hacking. If anybody in your team is there, try to breach something and try to, because there is no one fixed solution. We need to keep doing it because there are basic things which you keep doing it to protect the infra. Fine, everyone will put VPN, everyone will put firewall, everyone put next generation. Everybody will do that. Whatever people are saying it like standard things on that. In spite of that, there are breaches that are happening. In spite of that, people are coming, entering into the system, sabotages are happening. But for all that, like best practices from application standpoint also taken care, infra standpoint also taken care. So you do lots of frequent audits on our infras and on applications and keep protecting yourself. We need to give that comfort to the management, comfort to the business community, comfort to the customers. Fine, your data is safe with us.
Okay, thank you. So yeah, they spoke about certifications that have to be done. Thank you so much. So now coming to the end of our panel discussions, I would like to have one sort of a main key takeaways from all of you, or what do you see the future of IT infrastructure strategy? So, Prince, we can start with you.
I think in my mind, this is an ongoing journey where you stay alert to what's happening in the industry, you stay alert to the mega trends. You try to make sure that your business is not left in the wake of many of the turbulence that you see, and it's our role to ensure that we provide enough enablers so that the business transactions, the business strategy can be executed. And towards that, it's a good, it's imperative to have partners, best-in-class solutions, strong principles working with us, and That's what we always keep looking out for, because none of these things can be done by ourselves. It requires a good ecosystem of partners and vendors.
Thank you. Thanks, Prince. Arun?
Yep. Okay. Yeah, Prabhu. In my view, I can summarize in this way that IT is not anymore seen just as a support system in the organization. It moved away from the support system to an enabler, a kind of a profit center for most of the modern organization. So that will be the key, and all our strategy will be in a way that don't leave, keep watching the industry, don't leave behind, and keep upgrading so that we can live up to the expectation from both from the customer as well as to the organization.
Thank you. Thank you, Arun. Ashwin, your thoughts on it? Any?
So I would say it needs to be consumable, it needs to be automated, and it should be ready to scale. That's the first belief with modernization of infrastructure. What should come our way, and the second one is obviously it needs to include the ability to manage and enable the ecosystem across existing capabilities, technologies and services, because that's also key. So it is not that you move everything here. It's about coexistence and seeing how the best works out for the bandwagon that wants to work in a hybrid manner.
Absolutely. I think most organization looks at hybrid, especially with regulations being in place. Many look at it in a hybrid manner. Balaji?
Yeah, that's true.
See, everybody is completely tech savvy companies, all these cloud players, and we are utilizing them. So modernization is inevitable, and they're doing it. Only the adaptability is becoming a challenge for us. How well we are going to adapt it. So there are multiple platforms, other platform service, infrastructure service. So what I foresee in the future, not now, but in the future is might be all these cloud players will have a kind of a common platform, because everyone has a different technology, different computing platform. So it's very challenging to migrate from one player to other. I think they might standardize everything so that we will be choosing cloud as a service itself, where we can go with multiple vendors, whichever vendor we choose. That could be the future thing I foresee.
Sure. Ashwin, you want to add something?
No, I was just checking something. Yeah, sorry.
Okay. Dr. Suresh, your last words on it.
Yeah. I put it this way, like it's a thin line between compliance and services. Okay, so all people trying to fix technology on that, but a real challenge is what the modernization comes out a word called all flexible. This all looks very easy terms in English, but technology, that's where the real genics of security and other things are taken care. So all, if you see from the internal customers, so far only the employees were using the technology. Now even employees family is also part of our technology. Same way, earlier only customer is using the technology. Now customer family is also trying to use our technology. If this is so, and you want to keep flexibility in terms of all, that's where the real modernization is getting challenged more in terms of know your customer family. Now it's not like know your customer only, know your customer family, know your customer in and around our environment. Those are the real challenges going to matter a lot when you talk about digital, and people expect everything at their home now, because the COVID has made very clear people want, even banks, recently we had some queries where people used to go to some specific banks for their closure and other things. Now the customers started demanding, no, we are not going to go. If at all you want, you have to come to our house to collect. Those are the things which is coming very clearly from the matured stage, where people got education in terms of banking and other solutions. So all is going to be a challenge. That's where the real technology comes out. So let us be very clear in terms of knowing the completeness and the finished. So if at all you want to be complete, every organization wants to be complete, let us select the cloud partners who are right and trying to guide us so that we can achieve complete. If you are not right and your customer partner is also not right, then you will get finished. If you are right and if you are not able to share your SLAs and agreements properly, even a right partner can go wrong, you are completely finished. So let us work out how best we can do in terms of the technology which makes us more complete. That's what the reality in terms of the kind of disaster transformation in terms of disruptions will get addressed towards that. Back to you, madam.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh. So we've actually got some few questions which have come in, and it's now coming on WhatsApp. So I'll just read up, and this is to Ashwin.
Yep.
Ashwin, have you moved analytics of fraud detection systems that is non-core to cloud? What use case you would move into cloud?
So yeah, the analytics payload is something that we are looking to move to the cloud, where models that we need to be looking at for our own insights and consolidated information for our teams to take the next steps is high on priority to move to the cloud. Is it on the cloud now? No, it is not yet. Similarly, for EFRMS, that is the fraud management system, we think there is still a lot of customer data that flows, and that's something that we will be waiting. We won't be the first movers in that space, but yes, if there are banks that are moving into that space, then it becomes we will want to be quick followers. So at the moment, there's a lot of customer data in the EFRM, the fraud management solution. What is our priority for the cloud? I think the UPI payload, if I look at it, that's something that needs scaling to be done very, very quickly. I mean, the number of transactions have grown exponentially for us. That's an area that we are keen, and we are talking to even our OEMs who provide us with a core banking platform to see how this payload can be tackled from the cloud and things of those sort.
Okay, thank you. There's a question for Balaji. Did you do any transformation of legacy systems, or mostly it was all new application services? Who is your regulatory body with respect to data security?
Thank you. Very interesting. Since I come under NBFC, for me, RBI is the regulatory body. Here, since I'm into 4 years of operations, everything is a newly built here. We never had a legacy, so that was an advantage for me to start developing from brick by brick and move everything to cloud itself. So initially itself, everything was from the beginning itself was in the cloud. So it was easy for us to keep scaling up. Initially we took one server, right now I'm having 42 servers. So it's very easy to keep scaling up. Start with one server, keep scaling up. So that was the thing where we also went to the blockchain, where for blockchain also we need to use multiple clouds also. For everyone, what we can do is, if nobody has started from the legacy also, it's quite make a kind of a roadmap. Start with one server, keep moving one by one. If you can't able to move the core, just try to move the non-core, then slowly bring in everything. So I think it's only the journey. If you're looking for all signals to turn green, then we can't start the journey. Just look one signal at a time, then start the journey. So that's what I would say.
Okay, there's a question maybe for Quadra, if Quadra is around. Are you able to hear me?
Ma'am, you can direct it to Saurav Dubey, sir.
Okay. Is he there? Because I can't see his video. Saurabh, are you there? I think they're not there. Quadra and Saurabh, both Google is not there, I think. There's another question I think anyone from the panel can answer. Modernization is expensive and it doesn't have direct business value. Nowadays, we have many high priority business cases to be built, which has direct business value. How does infrastructure modernization take more priority over a business? Dr. Suresh, do you want to venture in?
Yeah, it's a great question again. That's what I started saying, like modernization doesn't mean it's more of a technology jargon. It's more to do with the kind of current and futuristic, how we are aligning with the kind of expectation set part of the customer. If you're focusing in terms of the kind of digital transformation partly used by customers, expected by customers, so organization has to build with the existing and trying to map, not just rebuild a new one, just map that existing technology which satisfies, connects, and trying to deliver it. Especially the community cloud. What I referred it's more of a modernization, but there's a customer demand where the rural customers doesn't want to get into the individual banks. They want a bargaining system to happen, and they want to set that bargain, and they want to win the bargain, and they want to get those solutions done. It's going very heavily in terms of customer focus and the modernization expected part of the customer. So the digital transformation not necessarily every time comes from the corporate. It comes from the customers also. It comes from the kind of dynamic business where we are into, and the kind of infrastructure expected part of it. So until those things are not met and we are not able to position it, we have to lose the business. That's a simple contest. And if at all you want to be with the business, if at all you want to be with the customer where the things are getting engaged with them for a long term, then these are the kind of modernization subject to your culture, your value. Again, I'm underlining it is subject to the culture, values of that organization, with the best what they can do and which is available for their business and affordable for their customers matters a lot in terms of modernization. Back to you.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh. We can take a last question now. Arun, what is the trigger to decide whether to go for infrastructure modernization? So what is the trigger which is there?
There could be multiple triggers. The primary factor would be the growth of business, load of data, whether we are the current system has the capability to manage the load. The key point for any kind of transformation in modern age, I would say it as the scalability. Are we capable of scaling in whatever we have, or we need to look for whatever available for us readily, so that our speed to market also can be met. So that's what I can say here.
Thank you. Anyone wants to add a last word, and we'll close the session now.
See, I think it is very important that it's not just about infrastructure modernization. It's about how the organization looks at taking that next leap, right? So a few years back, I had seen this in one of the presentations that it had said that new technology, old organization is equal to an expensive old organization. So I think that's a key takeaway that I had from that session. And whenever we look at modernizing something, we see what else needs to be changed to ensure that it is not just one aspect getting modern, it's about everything changing and the mindsets coming together to ensure that it's successful. So that's my key. Whenever I look at making these big expenditures towards the modern.
That's what same thing, right? I was calling out as a change management. Correct. It has to be a behavioral approach. The digital transformation is, we cannot think that it is a technology transformation. It is a transformation from business, transformation from what we do and where we want to go. So everything has to support along with that.
Sure, thank you.
A recent research of mine, which does a joint family versus loneliness family, success was more with the joint family because they are the people who see generations. So the organizations who see the next generations are prepared with the expertise of the older generation and experience, which gives that expertise to take the strength and will to move next. So the organization should have older generation also and should get prepared for the next generation also. It's a joint family. So the joint families are the successful families who are ready for modernization, good for transformation. Back to you, madam.
Thank you, Dr. Suresh. I think we've done good and we are through with our panel. Over to you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you all on the panel. Over to you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I've got to admit, I have to admit, this was one session where I have only 2 words to describe, and that is incredibly delightful. But primarily, let me thank Ms. Kamdeen for summarizing the entire panel discussion and duly helping in answering the relevant questions raised by our attendees. Truly valuable takeaways from the session. And with this, ladies and gentlemen, we bring today's virtual conference to a close. I've got to admit that today's session wouldn't have been a success without the active participation of all our esteemed panelists and delegates. I would like to thank each and every one of you for taking time out and being a part of this virtual conference today. A very special and heartfelt thanks to Google Cloud and Quadra Systems Net India Private Limited for their support to this initiative, without whom this conference wouldn't have been possible. Thank you once again, ladies and gentlemen. Take care, stay well, and stay safe.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Bye-bye.
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 Bye.